Hello, this is the Introduction to Kinesiology 200 online version of the course. This lecture was created in Menti for a face-to-face course, mentimeter.com. Don't worry about the interactive aspect of it. The questions that we ask here, you will post on your discussion board for your introduction and module 1. So normally in class we would have, this is an interactive real time, but since this class is being offered remotely, asynchronously, it'll be part of your discussion questions. So part of your discussion question is just a check-in and how you're feeling. How are you feeling about summer class? How are you feeling about an online class? How are you feeling about kinesiology? So not expected to go on the discussion board right now, but just take note. That's how a lot of these lectures are going to be. We're going to have a discussion, and what you would do is either have a little a text document opened up or a little scratch piece of paper and pencil, and just jot down how you're feeling. And I kind of want you to do it in the moment of the lecture itself. This one, it's more of a general, so it's not going to be that big of a deal. But when you're in discussion of a class, we just heard of a new topic or watched a video, I'm going to want your insight immediately after. So this is Kinesiology 200, Introduction to the Field of Kinesiology. It's a multi-part course. There's 3 sections. One is on the content area of the academic field of kinesiology. The other is on the professional field of kinesiology. And the third is you as an individual utilizing the field of kinesiology. So we use this word kinesiology, and you would be surprised at how many people don't really know what the word means. In fact, we're going to be doing it. You'll be doing an assignment where you poll either online or in person. You ask people what is kinesiology, and you're going to get a whole bunch of different types of responses. But take a minute and see what you think the word or what is kinesiology. The next thing I want you to write down is, what do you expect to take away from this course? Just try to think about why you're taking this course. It can be as simple as a requirement, but or just a general interest, but just take a minute and jot down what you expect to take away. And then the third question is, what career path are you on? What are you pursuing? What are you hoping to accomplish with your time earning an associate's degree or a bachelor's degree? And again, these will be questions that you post on the discussion board. So let's go back and review some of these questions. Kinesiology itself is the study of human movement. It's usually related to sports, but it can be related to any aspect of just normal function, communication. Most people are taking this class as a education requirement because a majority of my students are transferring into a 4-year institution, particularly a bachelor's degree in kinesiology. Most of my students are going to UIC, the remaining going to NIU, and then the other going to many other 4-year institutions. I have some students that are skipping the 4-year institution altogether and are looking to go straight into industry, particularly as a personal trainer or fitness instructor. So with career choice, you'll look at the bottom there and you'll see personal training, fitness industry, physical therapy, other medical, coaching, education, and then other unknown, not quite a bit, but I have at least 1 or 2 students every semester that are unsure what they're doing. Law enforcement, aviation, sports, something related to sports, just general interest as well. Athletic training is another big field that's there as well, but I would say that at least 50 to 60% of my students are pre-physical therapy, and the next largest group is the personal training fitness industry. And then I do have some students that are going into chiropractic, occupational therapy, speech language pathology, and then many that are going on into medicine as a physician or pre-med aspect. And then I have a whole host of students that are interested in athletic training, coaching, and then physical education is still a somewhat popular desire, but I will talk more about that as the semester progresses. But people want to be a coach, which is great, but you're going to want to teach in a subject area that is more in demand, like math, English, engineering, sciences, and those aspects. So nobody really here in the Midwest is getting hired to be a full-time coach without being a teacher. You're a teacher first, coach second. And so just keep that in mind, that you want to be employable as a teacher, and then you'll always have that addition as a coach. So the syllabus, I actually posted a video for the syllabus. It's in Module 0 folder. It's video 2, so 0.2. There's the syllabus there, and then a video goes into detail of that syllabus. So I will not do that in this particular video. So big picture results, basically an overview of what this class is looking to do. The biggest thing it's going to do is figure out who you are, right? Where are you at in your academic journey? And then what do you have in front of you for your academic plans and vocational plans? So really, how do you think? What stimulates you? Are you an internal person? Are you an external person? Do you prefer to sense things, or do you prefer to think about things? These are all things that we'll explore through the personality assessment, and not just take a personality assessment to find your best match in life, or it might do that, but to resonate really, what career choice are you going to do? And it doesn't so much, you might want to be a physical therapist or an athletic trainer. So it's not going to say, hey, you're not going to be an athletic trainer. You're not going to be a physical therapist. You might figure out which setting you might want to be in. Do you want to work in a hospital? Do you want to work in outpatient? Do you want to work with like neurological rehab? Do you want to work with children? So there's a variety of niches that exist within each of those fields. So this is now more specific in terms of matching how your brain works and how you interact with information with what you're going to do as a vocation. What do you want to do, right? That's kind of now you figure out how you tick, how you work. What's the best setting or best path or best thing that you want to do? What interests you? I think this is the reason a lot of people don't look at is, why do you want to do it? Like, why is it like, so yeah, you love soccer, you love football, you love baseball, you love sports, right? But why, right? How are you going to be meaningful? How are you going to be valuable? And I think that's where this will be answered a little bit too. And then after you figure out those first three, who you are, what you want to do, why you want to do it, how do you actually do it? A lot of people say they want to be a physical therapist, they want to be a doctor, they want to be a coach, they want to be a professional athlete. There is a pretty solid path to success, and knowing your end goal is half the battle. Probably not even half, but more than half of it is do you have a plan to achieve that? And then a time frame, like a reasonable expectation for how long it's going to take. Is it 2 years, 3 years? And not so much for a planning aspect, but for deadlines as well. So this class, as I explained in video 0.1, is structured in a way. This is a pretty nice image to kind of show you where your assignment and time should be. You'll see that 60% of the class is the online coursework, and that 40% of the class is that end of semester portfolio. So if you haven't watched that video yet, please watch that video on the portfolio. I think it's on point 1, and I think I explain it in point 2 in terms of the syllabus, looking at the portfolio aspect. Now, this is something that we'll talk about in our first one-on-one meeting. It's also something we'll talk about at the end of the semester. This is a work in progress. It's not just, oh, you're going to sit down in 1 week and do it. The portfolio is a capstone, accumulation of 8 weeks of course material that you will be doing, both on content areas, personal development, and professional exploration. So then I want to finalize the video. Just a quick introduction to me. Who's the person that keeps on telling you all this stuff and it's going to be the final determination of your grade at the end of the semester? Online courses minimize the contact time that we have face-to-face. And I feel like in the field of kinesiology, knowing who you're working with is half the battle. You look at a lot of popular people that are on Instagram and TikTok and fitness leaders, if you will, and it's because they have an online presence. You kind of know who they are without them really knowing you. So hopefully I'll get to know you through our one-on-one meetings and through our communication. But just so you know who I am, my name is Jonathan Loos, and last name is pronounced Lows, L-O-W-S. I prefer Jonathan, so when you communicate with me, please feel free to refer to me as Jonathan. I am a licensed physical therapist. I've been a physical therapist for 7 years now. I got my doctorate in physical therapy at UIC. I have a master's degree in applied exercise physiology, and I've been in the fitness industry. This is my credential that I keep, my certified strength and conditioning specialist, since 1998. Has been a personal trainer. So I have quite a bit of experience both in the fitness field and the rehabilitation field, and with coaching as a strength coach with many athletes. I started out at UIC in electrical engineering, and I failed out. I was kind of a screw-up student. So you see that first page, and you're like, oh, impressive credentials. But it was a pretty hard journey for me to achieve. It took me 6 years to get my undergraduate degree. I jumped around from degree to degree. I was at UIC. I failed out. I ended up going back to a community college. At that time, I was living in Glen Ellen, so College of DuPage. And I eventually got back to UIC and finished it. So it took me a while, a lot of money, a lot of wasted time, a lot of withdrawals, a lot of Fs. But I ended up taking a class similar to the one that you guys are in now, and it helped me kind of get focused. And so really the journey I have my students are in this class is similar to the experience that I had. And hopefully you learn from my mistakes and can gain from some of the wisdom that I had learned over the time. But just keep in mind that, especially with PT programs, a very competitive field, it was still possible for me to get in. From my vocational aspect, I was a personal trainer at Export Fitness for a while. That was where I first started training before I was even certified. They hired me, and I got certified, and then got a bump in pay. And then I went back and went to school and finished my degree at UIC. And then I started working as a fitness manager, a trainer at Lifetime Fitness, and then became assistant manager there. I eventually left there and started my own business, and that's when a lot of the opportunities opened themselves up. Now, before I was credentialed as a physical therapist, before I even had my master's degree, just vocational experience, I had a contract with the Chicago Cubs, working with them for a short stint, like 6 or 7 years. Worked with the Blackhawks, occasionally with the Bears, Chicago, and the Chicago Wolves. Now, as a physical therapist, I still contract with those teams a little bit, but it's still through the personal training fitness aspect. So it's interesting. I've had more opportunities in the sport field with my personal training hat than I've actually had with my physical therapy hat. I started teaching at this organization called the National Personal Training Institute, NPTI, and it was a vocational school for personal training. So it's like if you want to become a bartender, or massage therapist, or yoga instructor, it was just a vocational school. And in this particular instance, the field was personal training. It was like a 1 year, 6-month program. And worked there. I loved teaching, loved working with students. And I went back to UIC, started teaching there, earned my master's degree in applied physiology. Was going to get my PhD, but I didn't want to be stuck in a lab. I wanted to be out working with people, so I pursued the doctorate of physical therapy. And I still practice as a physical therapist. I work as a movement specialist. Most of my patients are post-operative joints, so knee and hip replacements, and a lot of spinal specialization, so understanding spinal mechanics. I was at 5 years at UIC, and now I'm going on my 5th year here at Harper College as an instructor. So I love teaching. I love understanding the body. I love fitness. So it's all my passions kind of all rolled up here. And so hopefully that comes through in the class. I try to make that as prevalent as I can online, but luckily we have great technology now where we can interact face-to-face on Zoom, and hopefully you guys will decide to take some classes with me during the semester. So some of my research interests, some of the areas that I spend my time, my favorite part of the body is the foot. It's particularly with like foot function, minimal shoes, barefoot running, and not so much the aspect of the barefoot running, but the mechanics behind that and the implications that it has on the spine and the back. Really interested in the physiology of fat loss and just overall human physiology, but particularly busting myths in the physiology aspect, particularly like the energy balance theory, calories in, calories out, and carbohydrates are good and fat, just all that. So it's interesting. You'll see here on the screen that circadian rhythms, that how you sleep and the timing of your eating and all that actually has such a huge impact on your function. Ketosis, but please note not ketogenic diets, understanding how the body uses fat for fuel versus sugar for fuel. Recently been very interested in cognitive psychology, so understanding the mental aspect of performance, memory, learning, and then the basis of my clinical practice with physical therapy and personal training for pain and function is focused more on software versus hardware. So I don't really care how big the muscle or how strong the muscle is. I'm more interested in how well the brain is communicating with that muscle. So that's kind of my research interests academic-wise. Some of my non-academic interests, wild food foraging. So if you see me on campus eating some leaves and berries, please don't come up and ask me if it's poisonous, because if it's poisonous, what the hell am I doing eating that, right? I get that question a lot. My son is kind of a freak too. He's only 5 now, and he's able to identify things. You'll see him out eating things. But yeah, and not eating food for survival, although survival is part of the aspect, but understanding for like a culinary aspect. My family and I are very much outdoors people. We like camping, hiking, biking, climbing, and a lot of water sports. And I'm involved in competitive shooting, 3-gun competition with pistol, rifle, and shotgun. And then I'm the guy at the party that's always arguing politics and religion. That's usually the first thing out of my mouth. So I like debate. And then the last thing there is I'm actively preparing for the zombie apocalypse. And that last one is somewhat humorous, but it's not that I actually think that flesh-eating zombies are going to arise from the dead and start going after our brains. But I do prepare for catastrophic events like a downed economy, grids going out, currency, 2 or 3 months worth of downed aspects. So yeah, that's kind of an interest that I get to share that my wife doesn't share so much of, but these are my 2 boys, Zechariah, who's going to be 5, and Leonidas, who is turned 1 in February. So he is like 1.5 now. And 2 boys, and the blonde hair, blue eyes does not come from me. It comes from my wife. That's Laura. And we're crazy. We like to do like square dancing, barn stuff, forest, climbing trees, and yeah, kind of outdoor pursuits there. So that's who your instructor is. That's the face behind the voice for this semester. And we'll probably have some interaction online via Zoom, but hopefully you're excited about this class. It's going to be a pretty neat class. And that's another photo of us. But if you have any questions, the discussion board is a good forum. And then as I had mentioned in some of the other introductory videos from Module 0, that if you ever want to set up a Zoom meeting to talk about any of the research interests, or you have specific questions on your career path or specific questions on your academic class, please look at me not just as your instructor for this class, but also as an advisor or as a guide navigating through kinesiology. If any of the things that I have done in my life, if you're interested in physical therapy, personal training, fitness, education, use me as a resource to help you with that process. But I look forward to working with you this semester, and I hope that we have a chance to work more. Thank you.